This is the Post Shift Podcast, a raw look at the hospitality industry. What's happened, Post Shifters? This is your Post Shift Podcast with your host, me, Shawn Soole. It's my last week in Singapore, but I've been still interviewing people while I've been here. Last week was Z from Proofing Company. This week is the amazing Andrew Yap from Old Man in Singapore. Old Man in Singapore is probably quite possibly my favorite bar, and that's not just because it's my local. I live upstairs from it. But just the service, the quality of drinks, the team there have just been absolutely the most warm, accepting people, like just taking me under their wing and just like made me feel like I'm one of their own. And I think the real big reason that is because of Andrew, the gentleman I'm interviewing today. Andrew Yap, the managing partner of Old Man in Singapore. I've just had an amazing time here in Singapore for the last 7 weeks, and having a place where I feel like I'm sort of part of the culture here, which is Old Man, has made my stay here for 7 weeks away from my family and my friends so much better. And I've gone out with these guys, I've gone out drinking. Andrew and I are around the same age, so we get along really well. And I just really have had an amazing time. So having a chance to sit down with the guy and have a chat and talk to him about Old Man, how it happened, his experience and that sort of thing. It was just a great opportunity for me to get to know the guy a little bit better outside of a late Saturday night or a late Sunday night drinking session. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. I'm back next week. I'm hoping that I can do one more interview before I leave Singapore. I'm just trying to get that scheduled before I leave. Opening a bar in 6 weeks in Singapore, plus trying to do podcasts has been a challenge, to say the least. But I thank you very much for supporting me. I can't wait to be back home for a month. I'm doing Montreal and Toronto Cocktail Conference. I will be the official podcaster at Toronto Cocktail Conference, so it's going to be quite amazing to be interviewing a whole bunch of amazing people there. So thanks again for your support, guys. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Every time I stay away.
Why?
I don't know.
People don't want to ask you on their podcast, or you don't want to do the podcast?
I just don't want to do the podcast.
So why am I the fortunate first? And possibly last?
It's most because things that is comfortable. It's the comfort zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when I'm not used to a comfort zone, and the things that I don't like cameras.
Oh yeah, I don't blame on that one.
I hate cameras, and that's the reality of it. It's literally that.
Interesting. So I keep it pretty free and easy on these things.
Yeah.
So why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay. I'm Andrew Yap.
And you're the proprietor and owner of
the Singapore, the Old Man.
Old Man.
Yeah, founder and managing partner of this Old Man Singapore.
Lovely. And there's also an Old Man in Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, yeah.
And you've sort of got
I've got a
side hustle in
Bangkok.
with
Bangkok, I leave it to them because Bangkok is literally with the Old Man in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So what we do is that basically we don't do anything over there.
Okay.
Yeah, because you need a work permit to actually work there. So they have to apply the work permit for 2 weeks. So that's why the Hong Kong guys are actually going up every 2 weeks. But if we go up, we can't work.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you been in Singapore then?
I've been in Singapore since October 2015.
Oh wow.
After Hong Kong.
Wow, that's substantial.
Yeah.
So how long were you in Hong Kong for?
About close to 8 years.
Huh. Well, because your wife is a
flight attendant.
flight attendant.
Yeah, so that's why we moved the whole family there. Because otherwise it was a hassle.
Okay, so so you're not technically involved in Old Man Hong Kong. How did you become involved in Old Man Singapore?
A couple of drinks. Handful of drinks when I went up to Hong Kong before the Old Man was actually open.
Yeah.
So we talked about this and drank till about 5 in the morning.
Okay.
Then Agong came to Singapore and we started talking about it again and we drank till again. And eventually that happens. Because I knew Agong back then when I was in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I became close friends. Myself, James and Roman, we became friends. So before we became partners. And Agong knows me based on my backgrounds and based on everything. That's why he trusted me to open up Old Man.
How long have you been in the industry for?
Since 1994.
Wow.
Started as a dishwasher.
Everybody does.
Yep.
All the good ones I find, all the good bartenders that I talk to are like, oh yeah, I started as a dishwasher. I'm like, we all started as a dishwasher. Something.
Yeah, dishwasher, waiter, etc. Yeah, all those. My background is actually restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah, but eventually I evolved into trying to learn as much as I can on the bar side. That's why I got hooked to it. That I've never been a great bartender, but the thing is that I keep progressing and keep on learning.
So what was it that, like, when you came back, because Old Man's only been open for, the Singapore one's only been open for,
Since February 19.
okay, so
Yeah,
like,
it's a couple of months.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And Hong Kong's only been open for like 2 years, right?
Yeah, July will be 2 years.
So how did the intersection of like, because I think that's where my confusion's come in, because like Hong Kong, like Old Man Hong Kong's only been open for 2 years, and then you've got Singapore, and then you've got
The
like,
sea by the Old Man.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it just, so how did that sort of intersection come where you were like, I want to bring Old Man Hong Kong to Singapore?
Yeah. It's just literally Singapore is actually the cocktail capital of Asia.
Yeah.
So that's why we want to place the foundation here.
Yeah.
And it actually creates a difference whereby people from Indonesia, which Agong has a lot of friends down there, and it actually translates into Southeast Asia. Because in Hong Kong it's actually great, it's further part of Asia.
Yeah.
So it actually takes a bit more traveling and more difficult. And since we have the space here, and we have the support from the industry, support from the tourism board, the government, that's why we decided to put it in Singapore instead of anywhere else. And it's things that business relations and to start up a business in Singapore, it's so much clearer, transparent, and everything else. That's why we decided to do it here.
So what did you do before Old Man?
I was at Neon Pigeon.
Okay.
That's the first job that I came back and I knew the owners, so I got a job offer down there.
Sweet.
3 years and 15 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then Old Man, how long did it take to build Old Man? How long did it take to fit it out? And how'd you find the space?
Ashish was a good friend of my previous owners, so we became friends, and apparently I heard about this project that he's going to do. So we discussed, even before the hotels were actually knocked down. So we discussed and he told me that this is the plan, etc. And I told him, okay, this is the plan that we are bringing to Singapore. And he's been to the Old Man in Hong Kong, and apparently that he heard and he was very happy.
So how big is the Old Man in Hong Kong? About the same space as Singapore?
Twice smaller.
Twice smaller?
Twice smaller.
So it's literally just the bar.
It's the bar and a bit of sofa, but everything is actually much more smaller than what we have.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it's about 28-seater in total, and about maybe 40 to 50 standing room. That's why it's always packed. Yeah.
So do you think, what do you think has been the reason why Old Man Singapore's been so successful?
Well, it's being tagged down from Hong Kong, and we staying through the concept, this experience and everything else. So that's why we translate that back from Hong Kong into Singapore. And that's one thing that we use in Singapore is that we never call our guests customers.
Yeah.
It's always the guests, because we are always in the hotel industry.
And if people have been watching my stories and just seeing how crazy you get, you guys are like the anti-speakeasy. Like Saturday night when I was in there, you guys packed that place out.
Yeah.
If there's a ledge somewhere that people can put their drinks on, they get slid in there.
Yeah.
And you could easily go opposite like most speakeasies all over the world, not just Singapore, and just go once the seats are full, the seats are full. But we want to have everybody have the experience. Yeah.
But the thing is that the Old Man is not about selling drinks. It's about the experience when you come in. The whole, starting from the door to the whole concept. It's not about the drinks. The drinks is irrelevant. If the service is not good, no one's going to come back. Yeah. The experience is bad, no one is going to come back. That's why we built on that. And I could say that since till today, 70% are of our day one regulars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was another crazy thing when I first came in, that like the whole bar area was full of regulars.
Yeah.
And I still laugh because I still talk to all those Singaporean locals who still don't know what Old Man is. And I love the fact that I can tell them where it is.
Yeah.
Purely because they're like, Old Man what? I'm like, oh yeah, you gotta go to Old Man.
Yeah.
And so, what do you think? I find the industry, in my opinion, in Singapore's still pretty young. Like really, the cocktail culture here has only been around for like 8 years.
No, not even that.
Not even that.
Yeah, I think the first few guys that actually started was 28 Hong Kong.
Yep.
Yeah, like Michael started a long time ago. So it was that start of the boom of cocktail. Yeah. Like even Singapore slang is, let's not talk about that. Yeah. But the real time that cocktail started booming was when Michael and the rest of the boys started this. Yeah, so it was a real frontier though.
Yeah, and so it's gone from, and we've got what, 5.5 million people here in the city.
In the city.
What do you think the pitfalls are of the cocktail culture going that quickly?
Well, it will continue to grow.
Yeah.
It will continue to grow because everybody's looking at Singapore and Asia to see what's going on. How come we are moving that fast? Because the process is that everybody's hunger to learn something down here.
Yeah.
And it never changes, and it's just going to continue and more. The only challenge is that we don't find enough people to work.
I find that's a difficult, that's a nightmare, especially I think it's anywhere in the world. I know that we can say here in Singapore, it's just the Singapore market, youngsters coming through the ranks too quickly, that sort of thing. But I think that's anywhere in the world.
Correct.
It's just exacerbated here because there's a lot of youngsters.
A lot of youngsters.
Whereas a lot of cities have that gap.
The gap in between.
Our age group.
Yeah.
And
the young 28.
Yeah.
And I'm actually blessed with having the whole team. This is actually Singaporean.
Yeah.
Yeah, my whole team is Singaporean. So
That's
I'm actually blessed, and I don't think there's much bars that actually has that amount of.
Yeah, because I find they either go either way. They get all locals, or you start playing with quotas, which is an absolute nightmare. Or you've got a big hotel bar that e-passes everybody, and they don't care about how much they pay them.
Exactly.
It's just an e-pass.
There's just e-pass, and they just want to fill up because they need the body.
Do you think with how fast, because I know you've travelled enough, do you think with the speed that the cocktail culture has got to a stage where the market can handle places like yours and the bespoke and that sort of thing, do you think that it's going to progress through the full cycle of cocktail culture like most cities see, where then all of a sudden all the bartenders are like, well, we don't take ourselves too seriously, and in 6 months everybody's going to be dropping the suspenders and the bow ties and that sort of thing, and stop waxing their mustaches, and then progress to this rock and roll t-shirt.
Rock and roll t-shirt, just come in a torn jeans.
Yeah, exactly.
I doubt it's going to happen.
You think this portion of it's going to last a lot longer?
It's going to last a longer. Because the thing is that in Singapore it's a bit more different, and I think in Asian reality it's a bit more different because the standards has always been the foresight that everybody looks at it. So it's not. I don't think it's going to change that.
And what do you think? Why do you think Singapore's the city that everybody watches? Because really, when you think about it, it's a small island.
It's a small island,
a relatively small city compared to the rest of Asia.
Yeah.
Why is Singapore the hub? Is it because it's the melting pot of everything?
Melting pot of everything, and literally so you can actually get most of the things in Singapore.
Yeah.
And like we said, it's a melting pot. You got so many races, you got so many cultures all together, and everybody gets together with everybody so easily down here. There's no barriers. There's nothing at all. Yeah. And everybody speaks English, which is a common language.
Yeah.
And that makes the thing goes around even faster.
Yeah, the selection here, I've been spoiled hard with what I can get here in Singapore.
And the food and everything else, from the food to ingredient wise. Yes, there might be certain things that's not available because of the restrictions from the SFA, food agency. But literally you can get everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise you can always ask your importer, can I have this?
And they'll just bring
it in for you.
What do you think the next step for young bartenders, if you had to give them a piece of advice for young bartenders in Singapore, trying to rush to get to where they want to be?
Never rush in your career. Never rush. Learn from the basics.
Always a lot of FOMO. There's so much FOMO.
Yeah, always learn from the basic. It's like simple scenarios. Like if you do not know how to make a latte, don't call yourself a barista.
Yeah.
Start from the bottom. If you don't want to call yourself a bartender, if you don't know how to change a beer keg, start from the bottom. Don't learn trying to stir drinks first. Try to mix drinks and learn the fundamentals of the basic. Yeah. Which literally is like, where is this spirit coming from? Read the labels, read everything, and learn about the whole thing before you start doing. I want to be a superstar.
Yeah.
And
everybody wants to be a superstar.
Yeah, and everybody wants to go for competitions. Yes, it's great for your career, but you need to start learning from the basic. Yeah. Be humble all the way. Just be humble and keep on asking.
There's a lot of competitions here in Singapore. A lot.
A lot. It's like, just be humble at the end of the day. Keep on learning, keep on asking. The doors are always open. But when you stop asking and you stop questioning, the doors will be shut for you.
Yeah, Z said it perfectly the other day because he's a fusion and he's in Australia. And it's always one of those things is people blame millennials for X and do this. Yeah. And he's like, well, it really, your generation, you were coming through the ranks and all of a sudden brand ambassador became an actual job. Everybody got hired as brand ambassadors and created this massive vacuum where everybody had to fill these positions. But most of them only had 18 months, 2 years worth of experience.
Exactly. And what do you learn from that? Yeah. You just learn that specific item and that's how much you know.
And what are your future plans for Singapore?
I'm just going to be here and continue to do what I love.
Yeah.
Until the day that I can't do it, then I'll go back to teaching football.
So is there no aspirations to expand on the Old Man brand or do something different as a venue? Or is Old Man your baby and that's like where the focus is?
We might do something, but it all depends on the rest of the three gentlemen.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes from there, because it's a collaborative decision.
Yeah.
So as the partners, we have to think otherwise.
Yeah.
But it might be the Old Man brand with different concepts, or maybe another different concept, or maybe doing something, a supplying business.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
That would be fun. So how many nights a week you pretty much work every night of the week at Old Man, so 6 nights a week.
6 nights a
I
week.
saw you on the bar on Saturday, which was awesome. And I don't blame you for that. I'm trying to think of, what do you think is next for Singapore?
Wow.
Just continuous, you think?
I think it will just continue, but the thing is that the progression has to be a bit slower. Because I believe there's too many people wanting to open their bars, and this is something I truly support. At the end of the day, we all support it. The more the better. But it's just like, we want to have it, everybody has a different path and it sustains that. Yeah, we don't want you to open up your bar and eventually after a few months you shut down, etc. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's really heartbreaking for
I've done
everybody.
it twice.
Yeah, it's really heartbreaking. I've seen that, and the hard work that people put in, the money that is invested. I believe that just go on a gradual basis. Don't just jump into it.
How did you get all your kids, like all your staff at Old Man, like culturally speaking, they give spectacular service compared to other places that I've been to in Singapore. How do you motivate them?
Whiplash.
Like, how do you motivate them to be like to excel further? Because I think, well, firstly, culturally speaking, it's not hospitality is not a job, like a career in Singapore.
Correct.
It's very Australia 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like, how do you motivate your staff to exceed everybody's expectations on a regular basis?
I believe just lead by example. And me coming from a hotel, because the thing is that I've been trained in a hotel, literally it's that the service standard you can never drop. And it's like what we always say is that when you come into a hotel, the first person that you see is the doorman or the bellboy. If you get a bad service from there, it just translates and continues to the desk and everybody starts complaining. But for us, it's that because the barman, the bartender, is actually the first person you see when you walk in. That's the experience that comes in. So literally, that's what I do. Sometimes I stand at the bar, is to translate, to show them that this is how it should work. And follow, lead by example. That's what I always say.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to keep it sweet because it's your first podcast, so I don't want to give you too much stress.
No stress.
I'm going to miss you guys for a month.
We will see you back.
Hey, thank you very much, buddy.
No worries at all.
Thanks, bud.
Anytime.
Thanks, Post Shifters. I hope you enjoyed that episode. If you're listening, whatever platform you're on, give me a good rating, subscribe, listen along. I'm going to keep going. I really enjoy sitting down with people and learning where they're from, what they did, and how they got to where they were. So if you love it, give me a good 5 stars. If you don't, give me 1 and I'll try harder.